Meanwhile, millions of Americans are in the grips of a huge winter storm that could bring the heaviest snowfall and coldest temperatures in over a decade.
States across the US have been hit by a huge winter storm covering much of the middle of the country in snow. Temperatures are hitting lows of around 25 degrees below zero. It's the coldest weather there in more than a decade. The storm is expected to head to the east coast in the coming days.
Meanwhile, the US is bracing for a huge winter storm that could see the heaviest snowfall and coldest temperatures in decades. 5 states have declared a state of emergency, but at least 25 more are under weather alerts, as the storm is expected to begin in the center of the country before spreading eastwards. Our North America correspondent Rowan Bridge is following developments and told us the latest on conditions across the US.
I think it really depends where you are in the United States. If you're in somewhere like Kansas, the weather conditions, the warnings are pretty dire. Frankly, the National Weather Service here in the US is warning of treacherous and potentially life-threatening conditions. Talk of a whiteout, because what you've got is a combination of heavy snowfalls, up to 35 centimetres being predicted in some places, and potentially high winds as well, creating sort of blizzard conditions, so extremely treacherous. And what you've seen is the knock-on effects of that. So widespread disruption to travel. So, for example, we've seen Amtrak, the American rail network, has had widespread cancellations. Flights, which is the main way you get around a country as big as the United States, something like 3,000 flights cancelled. We've had more delayed on top of that. So there is widespread disruption already to certain parts of the United States. As you say, 5 states have declared a state of emergency, but those weather alerts go as far south as places like Florida, the so-called Sunshine State, which is known for its mild conditions, which gives you an idea of the sort of extent of what we're talking about here. And those weather conditions are sort of heading eastward. So even here in Washington, where it's pretty cold out, I have to tell you, but at the moment the weather is pretty clear, those conditions are due to get a lot worse. And other major cities on the east coast of the United States, places like Baltimore up the coast from here, are also likely to be affected severely over the next 24, 48 hours or so. So places that haven't been affected so far here on the east coast are bracing themselves for worse to come.
And so just tell us what could happen in the next few days and how dangerous could it get?
Yeah, these weather conditions are serious. We are talking several centimetres of snow and, the United States is used to dealing with cold weather and snow, and certainly in northern states they're used to dealing with that sort of stuff. But as you were saying, we were talking about potentially some of the worst weather conditions this country has seen in a decade, and that is likely to cause widespread disruption over an extended period of time, affecting tens of millions of Americans. So that is a significant weather threat, if you like, to a large part of the United States, and likely to show widespread disruption across many parts of the United States.
And before we move on, there's been heavy snow in the state of Utah, which has sparked an avalanche in the area. Have a look at this dramatic video taken from inside a car, capturing the moment an avalanche roared down a mountainside in Salt Lake County, briefly stranding skiers there. Local media reported up to 5 inches of snow in the area.